and welcome to our final opening night live of the Fill the Seats fundraising campaign here at Galleon Community Theater. We're very excited for tonight's guests. We are coming full circle tonight, honoring our very first production in 1984. So, before we get started, I just want to give a huge thank you to every single person that has donated to our campaign, that has supported our campaign, that has been part of our videos and content. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We have officially reached our goal of $36,000. So we will be here next summer, hopefully bringing you full-fledged productions once again. Before we get started, again, thank you to everyone, but I want to give a special shout out to our 4 community donors. Big thanks to First Federal, Galleon Building and Loan Bank, Quay Drugs, and Experience Galleon. So now we are going to go ahead and introduce our guests for this evening. As I mentioned, we are bringing the campaign full circle for our very first production, and this evening we are talking to Kim Spencer and Todd Price, who are why we are here today. So Kim Spencer had her very first role as Annie in Annie Get Your Gun at Galleon High School. During this show, Kitty Butterfield and Denver Wilson taught her that hard work and a love for theater would change her world. This is where the dream of Galleon Community Theater was born. After graduation, she and Todd Price began to canvass the community as they made their dream of a community theater become a reality. They wanted to establish a place where community members could enjoy being on stage or in the audience. She was Maria in Sound of Music in the very first Galleon Theater production, and some of her favorite roles include Sally in Cabaret, the narrator in Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, Eve in Children of Eden, and more. Kim is in her 26th year of teaching music. She did her undergrad and graduate studies at Heidelberg University. During college, Kim wrote a musical entitled With One Voice. The theme song in the show is published by Hal Leonard Publishing, and after college, she began teaching at Seneca East. She was there for 7 years and then took a 3-year leave to tour with the musical. She missed the classroom and returned to the world of education. She taught in Westerville for 18 years and then went back to Seneca East. And then our second guest, Todd Price. Todd Price was born in Galleon, Ohio. His parents, Banty and Jean, were very active in the community and had Tiger Cleaners. Following in their entrepreneurial footsteps, after graduating high school in 1986, Todd went on to pursue a successful career in information technology. Todd has recently relocated back to Galleon with his daughter, Raven. So, without further ado, we are going to bring Kim Spencer onto the screen, and she's going to kick off our evening with a performance of reprising one of her songs as Maria in The Sound of Music. So bringing her back in here. Hi, Kim. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Okay, and we are ready when you are.
Right. So this was the first song from the first musical at the Galleon Community Theater, The Sound of Music. So I pause and I wait and I listen for one more sound, for one more lovely thing that the hills might say. The hills are alive with the sound of music. With songs they have sung for
Thank you, Kim. That was beautiful.
Dang, losing a little bit, but that's all right. It's a long time.
Thank you so much. And I will have Todd join us here in the seats. Switch to gallery view. Hello.
Hello.
Nice.
Okay, before we get going on the questions, we do have Jim Hoover and Kitty Butterfield in the chat today, so they're watching.
Hi, Kenny. Hi, Jim.
Along with several other people. And just a reminder to the audience, feel free to type in your own questions for these two as we're going through the ones that we've got prepared. So we'll kick off with an easy one for the two of you. Can you each tell us a little bit about yourselves and your connection to Gallion, Ohio? Whoever wants to start.
Kim, go ahead. You go ahead. I insist.
My connection to Gallion, Ohio is I was born at Gallion Community Hospital. My parents taught, they're both retired teachers from Colonel Crawford, and I grew up in Gallion, and I'm back in Gallion living.
And likewise, I was born in wonderful Gallion Community Hospital. Grew up here. As I said, my parents had Tiger Cleaners right across from the H&K Pharmacy. So being a dry cleaners and a laundromat, we kind of saw everybody, knew everybody. And I went to Wrenchville Elementary and then Gallion Middle School and Gallion High School. And that's where Kim and I met because we didn't go to the same, well, we didn't know each other in middle school, did we? No.
I don't think so.
No,
I think
so it was high school when we met. So,
It is class that, yep.
yep. And that was it.
Glad you did meet.
Good.
So am I, actually.
Awesome.
Hey, Beth Ann, before we start though,
Yeah.
I want to thank you for including Todd and I in this ordeal, in this event. You've done a wonderful job, and I just feel incredibly blessed and lucky to have the opportunity to be back with the Gallion Community Theater, something that we absolutely have the most incredible passion for.
Yeah.
Thank you
100
so
years
much.
of season.
Yeah. Can't imagine having the campaign without the two of you. So I'm just so incredibly excited that you're here with us tonight. Okay, so since we're talking about Gallion Community Theater, what inspired the two of you to develop this organization?
Do you remember, Kim?
I remember that we graduated and I was going through an incredibly difficult time, thinking that I would not be on stage ever again in Gallion. Todd?
Well, there was coupled with that, there was a funding issue too, and they were going to defund some productions.
Oh, that's right.
I've been trying to find it somewhere in my scrapbooks. I still have the petition that we circulated around the high school because Denver and Kitty said,
Right.
if you're that upset about it, do something about it. So we put a petition together, and because we were afraid we weren't going to have another high school production, but then with the community theater idea, it didn't matter what happened to school funding. If we had a community theater, you know, the football team could still have their new jerseys and we would still have our production. So that really drove us in the beginning. So plus our love of theater. I mean, and I know a big part of it for me, Denver was huge, as I know Denver was huge. I mean, he was more than, not only my science teacher, a director, he was also a friend. He was just incredible. But his passion, and Kitty, I mean, she treated us, we weren't just students. And she fostered us into, and then even Joe and Nick Trollian's mom, I told you, she took us on a trip to New York City. And I was hooked at that point. And I said, I want to have this in Gallion too. So
Definitely.
it was awesome.
It's amazing that, Denver and Kitty pushing you to fight for what you wanted and keep the arts in the schools. So that's amazing. Okay, so what was the process like starting up GCT, and what kinds of challenges did you face?
I think the one challenge that I recall is I think people thought we were crazy in the beginning.
We've heard that a
And we had
lot.
to kick a lot of doors down.
Yeah.
A lot of them. And a lot of people thought, you know, this wouldn't happen in this community. And
I
Jim
think,
Hoover opened his door, and Kitty and Denver, you know, helped us throughout the process. And Nancy Herman, Peg Cagle. I mean, there were a lot of absolutely incredible people that stepped up and believed in us. And, you know, I think, Todd, we maybe talked that sometimes adults don't think kids can actually
Correct.
pull through anything.
Right, and I think that's
I know sometimes I feel that with my high school kids,
Mm-hmm.
but I think they believed in us a little bit deeper than most, anyway, and kind of gave us the reason.
yeah. I think in the beginning a lot of them said they're just two crazy kids. Just let them go. You know, just let them try. And I think that we had enough determination and enough passion. And then, like I said, like Kim said, I'm not the theatrical person. I'm more organizational business. Like, if it weren't for Jim Hoover, I mean, so thank God Jim loves the arts, and his daughter was in show choir with us. Jim was instrumental in legally getting the theater established. And I don't know if we sold raffle tickets for a fundraiser, but I know we didn't even come close to the legal fees needed to do incorporation and everything that Jim did.
Right.
But, you know, I think it was just our stubborn determination and support from a lot of good adults who encouraged us to keep doing what we were trying to do.
Yeah.
And a lot of fun car washes.
I remember when we were creating this big fundraising campaign, I was searching through just newspaper articles and photos, and I had never heard that it had come from students. So when I read that, I was just blown away and super impressed and excited for what the high schoolers have done for the theater, and hopefully what they can start doing again here.
Well,
and just really encourage them to
So
get
when
involved.
when I came back to Galleon, I was dumbfounded and amazed that the theater was still here. So it's not just us, that spirit still does exist, because you all, I mean, Kim and I moved away, and Kim went away. So to come, it is kind of funny that both of our lives have come full circle and brought us back here. I was so proud to see that you all had this building, the old original Galleon Theater. And I mean, it's yours. I mean, it's it's theirs. It's not like somebody lent it to you, or, I mean, and you have preserved a piece of history and kept theater going. So, I mean, that determination that we had, you all still have too. So, and you've done a hell of a job keeping this theater here. I am impressed.
Absolutely.
So,
Perfect. Okay, so the very first production that you were both in as Maria, and then I think you said party guest,
some innocuous.
which was Sound of Music here at GCT. Do you have a favorite memory or a couple memories that you could kind of pick out from that production, either the process or the show itself?
I have one, but do you have one? I wonder if ours would be the same thing, because it was a big deal back then. You and Jim had to kiss, and it was a big deal. I mean, is that did I steal it?
Hello.
Oh, sorry.
And well,
Yep.
that was something.
Yeah, we're like, they're really gonna kiss for real. It's yeah. So I mean,
Theater,
out of
man.
my mind, that is my biggest memory. I don't know why, but it is, and it obviously stuck with you.
Todd, that was the very first thing I thought when you said that. So it probably was the same. Well, it was. Obviously.
So Jim's listening. Jim, tell us in the comments, how was her kiss? Was it a good one?
Hey, Jim.
Oh gosh.
Remember all those practices that we had? That was very uncomfortable. But no, it was awesome. It was awesome. He was totally a gentleman, complete professional.
It's always fun to harass the people that have to do a kiss on stage. My sister had to kiss a really good friend in Newsies a couple years ago, so it was just months of just harassment. So that's always fun.
It's awesome.
Okay, so Todd, this question is for you, but Kim, feel free to jump in and answer if you want. What's something that you learned from your time in theater that you've been able to utilize in your everyday life?
I would say there's two things. One, just the process of starting the theater up. I still remember to this day sitting in Jim Hoover's law office that was just across the street, And we were having a meeting, and Jim taught us Robert's Rules of Order. I don't know if you know, but it's the proper way to introduce emotion and hear it and recognize folks. I went on to go into a lot of corporate worlds. I mean, so that's something that, believe it or not, I used all the time. And you don't think of it as, it's not singing, it's not acting, it's not dancing, but the business aspects and dealing with the fundraising and organizing. That's pretty much what I've done in the technology world for the rest of my grown adult life. So I owe a lot of that to the theater. And the other thing the theater taught me is life can be crazy and hectic, and theater is my escape. Not being for me, watching a production. I take my daughter to New York City at least once a year to see productions. It's something we look forward to.
Yeah.
And I enjoy finding good local productions to go to. And thankfully, I have Galleon Community Theater to come to here as soon as the nasty COVID virus is done with its, but that's, I mean, so business. I learned a lot about business. And the other thing I learned is how to work with people. An invaluable tool. And once again, I can't thank, it was people like Kitty and Jim in Denver that taught us that. They weren't just teachers of their subjects, they were teachers of life. And it really helped me a lot in my whole life.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
that's it.
Perfect. Do you have a favorite production or role that you've ever been a part of, either on stage or backstage?
So I have a favorite production, not that I was ever in, but this goes back to being I have seen Cats 27 times.
Did you watch Andrew Lloyd Webber week?
I love Andrew Lloyd Webber, but literally between, but the very first time, it's probably because it was my very first musical. It was Nick and Joe's mom, Diana, that took us, and I don't know if you're too young. I mean, 8 is Enough was a show. Betty Barclay was Grisabella.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, after seeing Cats as many times as I've seen it, she was one of the best Grisabellas I've ever seen. So that's my favorite production. Never been in it, never had anything to do with it, just watched it. My favorite part I ever was, not with the theater, but it was with Show Tunes with Kitty. We did a small, I don't know, it was like a little variety show, and we did little snippets, and I was the lion in The Wizard of Oz.
Oh, nice.
For just one song, not the production, but that still sticks clearly in my head.
Yeah, that's a really fun character. It looks like we have something. I know Michael Smith is in the comments. He says hello and great to hear from you.
Mike, I just found out that Kim lives right down the street from your mom and dad. Unbelievable.
I saw him last night, actually, or 2 nights ago.
Awesome.
And then Jennifer Warner is here and says that you did an amazing job as Maria, Kim. And she loved running around with you all summer rehearsing.
Awesome.
Okay.
I used to be at that piano all the time, running song after song, same song after song, after practice on probably 10,000 times a song.
Practice makes perfect.
Yep, yes it does.
Okay, Kim, this question is for you. Why did you decide to go into music education?
Well, one of the people watching is one of the, probably the biggest reason, Kitty. She went to Heidelberg, and she kind of helped me figure out a direction, and I found that I loved the stage, I loved theater, and she took me to Heidelberg to audition, and kind of the rest is history.
Perfect. We just got another shout out. Kim Nagorski says hello and that it's fun to see you guys. And then Holly Price Hunt says that she loved you and Annie Get Your Gun.
She loved Kim. No, I had once again.
I saw you.
If she means me, that would be my niece. So I paid her to get on and say that. No, I don't even remember. I was in Annie Get Your Gun, but I don't even remember what I did. I held a gun. I think I handed a gun to somebody during the shooting contest.
Didn't you put the blanks in the gun?
Yes, I did. I guess I did.
Yep.
Yes.
It must have been a very
Because
good
Denver
performance.
wouldn't use, he wouldn't do just a
like a cap gun. They were honest.
A drum
Yeah.
rim shot. He had to have actual blanks on stage.
Yes, they were real
Attention
too.
to detail.
Yes, that was Denver.
Yep.
Okay, and then Kim, what was it like writing your own musical with one voice and touring that production?
Well, it was a very intense show, and honestly, I came from Galleon, right? And this is a beautiful place to grow up. And I went to college, and things were a little different, and saw some hardships that people had gone through in college, and ended up, just a real quick short story, I went to the practice room. I was going through a little bit of maybe depression and stuff, and I had gone to the practice room at Heidelberg, actually locked myself in the building via security and spent the night there. And I had a friend that was going through an extremely difficult time, had a very difficult childhood, and was having a lot of issues at the time. And I remember that I had seen the world from, a little of the harder side of the world. And I had gone into the practice room, and I had just sort of started playing the piano, and I was very upset, and I had gone into the music room, and I sat down at the piano and started pounding out a song, which eventually ended up being one of the songs that led into the writing of With One Voice. It was called As the Wind Blows at the time. And I was pounding on the piano and crying and screaming, and it's a very emotional song. And it just sort of flowed out, and it was really one of the first intense songs I feel like I had written. And after the song was over, I was sobbing, and I went and took the window and pulled the window up so I could get some air. And I looked down, and my friend, who was going through a very difficult time, was sitting in the alley behind the school with her head down, in a very sad position. But she was there listening to the music. And it was just right at that exact moment that I knew truly the depth of how music can bring people out of things. I was there for myself to try to heal from some emotional stuff that was going on at the time. And when I looked down and out of the window, I realized that music was the medium to reach people through music. And so the show itself was a show that dealt with suicidal ideation, child abuse, eating disorders, different things. So it was pretty intense. But to look out and see her, I knew music was the medium to reach kids, to reach people, to send a message out. As you know, it changes your life, right? You hear a song and you're taken back to your childhood, you're taken back to your first dance or your first kiss on stage. And so that's kind of what it was like. And then I sort of drifted away from that a little bit and started teaching, and we revamped the whole show. Todd helped us out with it, and I toured with it for 3 years, and I think we reached a lot of kids, and we worked with the Surgeon General's office. I don't know. I think music has just always been such an intricate part of my life.
Yeah, that is so cool. Such important topics. So it's amazing that you were able to take that to so many people.
Thank you.
Okay, so for both of you, you both kind of touched on this a little bit, but when this all started here at GCT, did you imagine it would go on to last for over 30 years and affect as many people as it has?
No, I mean, like I said, I was dumbfounded when I came back into town and saw it. And then honestly, watching your fundraiser, I am amazed at the number of people that have matriculated from here and where they are in the world. And it just tells me that I'm glad that what we did, well, like I said, it isn't us that, we had the initial concept and idea, but it's everyone else that's kept it going. And clearly the need existed, and people embraced it, and it's like Kim says, changed lives. Music, it's not just music, theater, it's life changing.
Yeah.
Kim, you just going to agree with me?
I'm just going to agree with you on that one. Could you just repeat the question? I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you're fine. When GCT started, did you imagine it would go on to last over 30 years and affect as many people?
I called you today, and I happened to just go back and rewatch all the shows that you've done in the last several weeks, the video clips that you had done, and I just got chills. I don't even have any other words for it. To think that I remember how passionate Todd and I were, and we knocked on a lot of doors, and I remember, I remember how scared and sad I was to think that I wouldn't be on that stage again, and to think that fear, and then our friendship, and then the adults and the community that basically wrapped their arms around us and gave us a chance. To think that so many people along the way, I'm just humbled by it all.
I think it says a lot about our community here at Galleon that they came behind you then, and through this campaign, they're still behind us all the way, just supporting us still. So, thank you to the community.
Yes,
from
big thank you.
30 years ago and today. Okay, so what are your favorite productions right now, or what's a show that you'd be excited to see on our stage?
I would love to see The Greatest Showman for personal reasons. I would love to come back at some point, and I would love The Greatest Showman, for sure.
Yeah, and Todd?
So, do you do plays?
We do, yes.
There's a show I saw, I think it was off Broadway. I don't know, it might have been on Broadway. There's a murder mystery comedy called Corpse. It's a murder with two twin brothers, and what's wonderful is obviously one person plays both twins. I loved the production when I saw it in New York City, and I think it would be achievable and doable, but a good challenge,
Yeah,
and something I would love to see on stage here.
very cool. Okay, it looks like I've got some comments coming through. Nicole Miller Weber said that she loves that song from With One Voice. And it was amazing to hear local kids singing the song outside of the local grocery store.
Oh.
That would be
Okay.
my niece, and Todd, I did not pay her to say that.
Okay, the last question that I have for the two of you, and reminder to the audience, if you have any questions for these two before we wrap up, feel free to type those in. But how did your experiences with GCT influence productions that you've been in since, or just your life or career paths?
So, Todd, I think as an educator, I'll speak as an educator first. As an educator, I think Kitty and Denver instilled in us, you don't settle. If it's not right, fix it. And be as professional on stage as you possibly can. And I think they did some incredible productions. And I hope that I have lived up to that with my high school kids. And I think you spoke of the community a little bit. And one thing as an educator, I spoke with a lot of high school students when I did productions. And one of the things that I found is that, I would talk to a lot of kids. And one of the things that I found as a common thread amongst many of my students was family. When people would sit down and have dinner together, back then we didn't have cell phones, we didn't have time where, we were apart. But the one thing that I've always said in every single one of the shows that I've done, either myself or with my students, is that my mom and dad were there for every single production. From the time I was in high school till even still today. And I think that had such an impact on my life, and the fact that the community would always show up for our productions, always. And it just gave you the belief that you could really pretty much do anything. I think as we get to be adults, we find out that you can't do everything, but at least when you can do those things, you do the best that you can. And I know that's affected my life, and still does today.
Definitely.
And really, I mean, I think I said it before, but just to echo the sense of, you know, it is the community theater, community. And not to beat a dead horse, but Denver and Kitty and Jim, they were, I think what's missing, I'm not happy with society today, and that's certainly not a discussion for here or now, but a lot of the qualities, morals, drive that I got, this is where it came from. Role models, role models. So my hope is that the theater's still here. It's a positive place for children to be. It's a positive, even adults. I mean, this isn't just, it's theater, but it's a good place to go and to explore thoughts and ideas and grow and learn and just be around good people. And, you know, that's probably the largest impact. I mean, literally, like we just said, it's odd. Kim and I have both come for full circle. We were talking about full circle, the theme tonight. We're both back here. You know, there's just something special about it. And I can't say thank you enough to all the people that helped teach me, the people that helped get the theater going, the people that have kept it going. I mean, it's just an incredible thing. The theater is a good thing in so many ways.
Definitely.
Yeah, I want to jump in and just send my appreciation out and thanks to the community, Kitty, Jim, Peg Cagle, all the people that believed in us when we were young, and I just feel incredibly blessed, and I think I'm home. I'm just happy to be home.
Yeah. Mary Sue Smith is also happy that you're home. She said that they love you both and they hope to see you both on the Galleon stage as soon as possible. Jim Hoover says thank you to both of you and for your persistence getting GCT going. And then the two of you were talking about this before the stream started, but Jennifer Warner would like to know if your mom still makes her pepperoni rolls.
Jennifer, that's one of the first things I asked. I said, does your mom still make pepperoni rolls?
He did. He said he still makes her pepperoni rolls.
I do.
So when I was in Westerville, I read an article, and that article was all about this family that came over from Italy and landed, and then they moved to Fairmont, and those were the pepperoni rolls that this whole article was about, which is what my family does. So yes, to answer the question, yes, my mom still makes them, and they are still just as amazing.
And then Kitty says thank you to your family because they were very supportive of her as a young teacher in Galleon. Okay, so I think those are all of my questions, and I just want to thank the two of you again for everything that you've done to get our organization up and running, and thank you for coming back and talking with us tonight. And then a gigantic thank you again to everyone in our community who has supported this campaign, who has helped us create our content, and who has interacted with our content online. We could not be more grateful for all the support that we've received from all of you. One more special shout out and thank you to First Federal, Quay Drugs, Galleon Building and Loan Bank, and Experience Galleon. And you will be seeing us next Friday when we have a special end of campaign announcement from our president of the board, Tim Groth. But thank you for joining us tonight and for joining us the rest of the 12 weeks of this campaign. And we will see you next Friday.
Thanks, Beth Ann. Bye, Todd.
Bye-bye. We'll get together.